So let's go ahead.
Hey everyone. So it's the third episode of our podcast. So let's get ahead. And today a new episode is in English. So I want to say hello to Desi Liriano. Desi is a great traders coach. He lives in Florida. So he's training dozens of different traders to how to trade assertively, how to trade consciously, and how to make even better results than they ever could think about. Right? Hey Daisy, thank you for joining me in this podcast.
Absolutely, Alex. Thank you for having me. And hello to all the listeners out there and viewers.
Okay, so could you tell me tell me a bit about where are you? So what are you doing there, and what are your specialty?
Just to make sure I'm following correctly, where I am in sense like where I physically am, or like where I am in my trading journey.
So actually, where are you? First, where are you physically? You live in Florida, right?
Correct, yeah. I used to live in New York. Got tired of all the cold weather and all that stuff, and just wanted something a little more relaxed. And then I came down here in Florida about a year and a half ago, and I love it.
Okay, you wanted to feel yourself more relaxed. It's
Definitely.
it's strange to hear because the majority of people, especially traders, they believe that if they like have if they try to work hard, so they will get really good results. But you are saying about relaxing.
Definitely. In my opinion, you can work hard anywhere. If in the sense of like getting rich and things like that, there are millionaires in every single state. So of course there are different opportunities that can come either where I'm in Florida or in New York, California, different things like that. The pace of living is a lot slower here, which I personally prefer. At least, when I was growing up, when I was younger, I lived somewhere similar like this, so it's right up my alley. But yeah, in terms of working hard, it can really be done anywhere. Just the opportunities can definitely be different depending where you are.
Yeah, I see. Speaking about your profession, your trading coach, will you please tell a bit more what is it about?
Absolutely. So, my main focus is mainly on helping individuals create a system to better their trading. And I also focus on the mental aspect of trading. I find that a lot of individuals that I've worked with, even myself in my own trading journey, it's like everybody has all these strategies and a lot of them work. But then sometimes you get an individual who, they're just jumping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in reality, when it comes to a lot of these strategies, I would say that a lot of them do work. It's just up to the individual to execute it properly. For example, I can teach you step by step exactly how I trade. But if you don't have the mental aspect, um, you know, like down packed, or know how to control yourself when you are trading, then you won't be successful, in my experience.
Hmm. You're saying control yourself. So what do you mean by that?
So, of course, that can be a very broad term, but controlling yourself, it can be in many aspects. Let's say in the sense of, let's say if there's a trader who he wins three trades in a row or two trades in a row, whatever it may be. And he starts getting this feeling, oh, I'm making this money. Let me trade some more. Let
I
me
can
put some
control
more
the
heat on
market, right?
it. Exactly. I run the markets, all these things that can come up. So then instead of taking a step back, be like, all right, I'm getting a little emotional, a little greedy. Let me take a step back. Let me reset and then get back to it. They'll just keep on going over and over and over and over and over. And then what can happen? They can overtrade. They can lose what they made. They can give back their profits. And then, they go in that cycle of getting into tilt and over trading, revenge trading, trying to get the money they lost back. and then leaving red on the day or even blow accounts.
Okay. So, speaking about your way as a trader, so did you do the same mistakes as the majority of retail traders?
Absolutely. Being a retail trader myself, I would definitely say what made me great at what I do now is experiencing those things. I've been there where I'm making a bunch of trades and I'm winning, and then I'm like, cool, let me just over leverage. Let me keep on trading some more to make more money. Or even on the other side of greed, being fearful. You get in a trade, you lose. All right, let me not trade. And then that trade ends up being a winner. So, a lot of these things that I help people with, I've experienced myself when it comes to, like I mentioned, over leveraging, being fearful, many other things.
Okay, but what changed? What was changed in you? So, how did you discover that you are doing wrong?
If I understood the question in the sense of like what I was like, when did I discover like what I was doing wrong and like what needed to change?
Yeah, right.
Gotcha. So, I say the biggest thing for me was about 2, 3 years ago when I took my first biggest loss. Like I mentioned earlier, when you get in those zones, I was making really good money for like 3, 4, actually it was like maybe like almost a year straight. And then I figured, hey, I'm making this money. Let me just get a bigger size on my positions. Mentally, I was not ready to scale in that big. And then I took my first big loss. And then after that, it was just like back to back to back to back to back losing months. So after I would say that happened like February or March of 2021. I started in 2020. Probably like November of December of that year, I was like, all right, I need to stop what I'm doing because clearly it's not working no matter what I do. And then from there, I took a month or two off from trading. I took I got help from a life coach, one of the best mentors I've ever had. And what I've realized is like my personal life was affecting my trading life in the sense of, you know, I wanted to get the money quick. I wanted to leave the situation that I was in quickly. But as we know, with trading, you can't force anything. Everything has to happen in its own time. So when I got my own life coach, I started piecing together, what I was putting onto the market, like, my own beliefs and my own dreams and hopes and all those things. And I realized I wasn't disciplined in my own life, which was bleeding into my trading life. So after I got my life together in the sense, taking better care of myself on a mental level, physical level, being more patient, it really helped me turn my trading around because my strategy worked before. It was just on the mental side and the discipline side where it was getting in the way of my trading. So until I fixed that, that's when I started seeing my results come back and being consistent again.
Possible to say that you found your own pace in trading,
Absolutely.
right? And that's why
Absolutely.
you moved to Florida, right?
Definitely one of the parts of it, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that you discovered that you are not prepared mentally for the to scale your trade. How did you understand it?
I understood it in the sense of like that first trade that I mentioned, like my biggest loss. I understood it then. At the time, I was maybe putting like $1,000, maybe $2,000 in a trade, and I can stomach like $100 loss, $200 loss. That was fine for me. Um, Now this other trade, I was like, well, I'm making this money, so let me just over leverage or let me just put even more money. So going from 1,000 to 2,000, I went to 4,000 to 5,000. And that specific trade, I still remember to this day, it was an option trade. And I was like, well, last time I traded this, I made about $2,000 profit. So if I put 4,000, 5,000, I'll make double that, right? So in my head, I was ready to see the green numbers, but I was not ready to see the red numbers. So my position went down maybe 10, 15%, and I was down about 400 to 600 bucks. And I was like, let me just hold this. It'll come back in my favor. And then it got to negative 1,000. And then I was like, well, all right, I got 6 months left on the contract. Let me just hold it because, it'll come back eventually. I was stubborn to take my loss and it hit my stop loss like weeks before, but I still kept on holding it. And then the position, to make a long story short, ended at zero. And then from there, uh, that was like the beginning to the downtrend streak that I had.
How do you think? Why weren't you prepared for the to see red numbers, but
I
only
think
green ones?
I think in the sense of like my expectations weren't proper in the sense of, I had the expectation that I was going to keep on winning day in, day out, almost all of my trades. So I didn't even have in my mind the expectation that I can lose so much or even lose that much. So because I wasn't ready on a mental level to really like be okay with that much of a loss or even losing that much, um, it got in the way of like my proper like having proper expectations of the market. Because I'm like I went into it with like it's impossible for me to lose this much. It's impossible for me to lose this much consistently. So for me, like it was a big thing of being stubborn and just not accepting it ultimately.
Mhm. Speaking about the expectations, so what are your expectations now during your trading sessions? Do you have ones?
So my expectation now, the biggest ones is really understanding that everything in the market is probability based. Nothing is 100% and nothing will ever be 100%. And also that red days are part of the business, and taking full accountability for everything that I do, whether it's a winning trade or a losing trade. So for example, I already know before I get into a trade, I'm going to expect I'm either going to make this much money or I'm going to lose this much money based on the setup. And if I lose, it's okay because I'm not here to be a trading all-star. I'm not here to make 100% of my trades win. I already know that's impossible. So when I go into the trading day, I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait for my setups. And when they appear, I'm going to take them. Whether I lose or whether I win, that is not up to me. That is up to the market. I already did my job. My job was to execute and get in according to the trading plan and get out according to the trading plan, whether it's profit or loss. And that's my only job.
Mm. It's very similar to the life rules, right? So you can control a very limited number of things, right? All the other things are not controlled by you.
Exactly. Like even in life, people try to control a lot of things out of their environment, but it's like ultimately all you can really control is yourself, the way you respond to them, and the way you maneuver through them. Anything out of that is not in your control.
Mm. Mm. Speaking about probability, are there any chances to increase the level of probability during trading?
Absolutely. Definitely. When it comes to probability and ways to increase it, and I'll try not to go too deep into it, but we definitely can. There's a lot of things that we can do to increase our probabilities of being profitable or winning and such. The biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, of course, is a journal. Journaling is very, very important when it comes to trading. For example, um, for those who may be listening and that don't have a journal, or those who do listen and do have a journal, having a journal is important because it's gonna give us results of what we're doing. We're keeping track of everything we're doing, our winning trades, losing trades, and then we can analyze those trades to determine, all right, which specific setups are winning more and which specific setups are losing less. And then from there, we can take that data and then we can make a playbook. For those who don't know what a playbook is, that's pretty much just like a collection of your trades. What I like to do with my playbooks is make a folder for winning trades and losing trades. And then in each folder, I categorize the losing ones and then the winning ones. And then after like 10 or 20 of them, I would see how many won and how many didn't win. And then from there, I'll categorize them: A setups, B setups, C setups, and then like unknown setups. But for now, we'll just speak like the ABCs setups. So the A setups for me would be trades that win at least 8 out of 10 times. The B setups, I would say anywhere between like 60 to 70% or 6 to 7 out of times out of 10. And then the C setups will be like anything under 50%. And for me, anything that is in the C setup category, I don't even bother trading. And I only trade the A and B setups. That way, I'm taking the highest probability trades. So then, based on my results and performance and all those things, I'm taking the best probability trades. And again, also remembering that they still have a chance to lose. So having the understanding and having it like, having the data. All right, this specific trade is going to win more than this one. So let me stop taking those poor setups and let me take the best setups. And then that'll give you a higher probability, win rate, return, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm trying to think in it over in the area of business. It's very similar. It's about taking best chances and not taking any others, right?
Absolutely. Even in business, like I always tell people, I use this analogy, if I have a business, if I'm running a restaurant and, if I don't keep track of what people are buying, how am I going to know what to put on the menu?
Yeah.
So if people are eating the lobster a lot more than the shrimp, then you can, maybe phase out the shrimp and just put more lobster. That
That's
way
why
you know where to spend your money and where it's coming from.
Absolutely. That's why analytics is very important in business, right? But a lot of people, they are lazy persons, right? They do not want to journal anything. They do not want to to do any analysis. Do you know any traders without who are successful without journaling?
I do not know any traders who are successful who do not journal. All the successful traders that I know, they make sure to journal every single trade that they take and have a reflection period.
Okay, but it's not it's not an easy way to to start journaling your deals, your trades. So how could you recommend other people, other traders to go this way, to start it?
So, my recommendations for people who may want to trade or who may want to like journal their trades if they're being lazy, it's really like sitting down with yourself and really asking yourself, like, what do I want? Like, do I really want to trade? Do I really want to make this a way to either be full-time trader or for, income on the side, whatever it may be. And it's also, asking yourself, do you want to, might be a little dramatic, but do you want to commit to misery or do you want to commit to growth?
Okay.
So if you want to commit to growth, all right, what does that look like? What are the necessary steps in order to continue growing and to be better? And then people can make a list. If I commit to misery, this is what that looks like. If I commit to growth, this is what that looks like. And maybe to give people some prompts that may help, bring up the questions. Some question that I always ask myself and people that I work with is what if I commit to growth, what will that change for me? What will that change for those around me? How will that change my life in a positive way? And then on the negative side, if I continue down this path, what will my life look like? What will those around me, how will that affect those around me? And then
Yeah.
you can go from there, creating a list and, giving you some motivation.
Okay. But don't you think this is very binary choice, right? So from the one side, misery, from the second side, growth. But there are many more choices between these positions? Is it important to have only two positions in your mind, or it's possible not to like to go to the extreme growth, but maybe maybe enhance your life in some way, just enhance your life in some way and trading?
Absolutely. Um, it doesn't have to be like the extreme of like I have to do like every single thing. But you can just do something that moves you in the right direction. For example, let's say for the sake of the conversation, if you have trouble focusing when you're trading, maybe you don't sleep well. You can do one thing that can better yourself. All right, let me sleep on time. Let me get proper sleep. Little tiny things we can do to get ourselves on the right track and to put ourselves where we need to be.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Speaking about other practices, so you mentioned good sleep. It's not a practice, but it's like a good thing to do. But if the trader is in some extreme situation, if he feels some really strong emotions, fear, and anxiety on something else, so what could you recommend them like to stabilize their mind?
And specifically, like during trading or outside of trading or a combination of both.
Let's speak about everything. So, do you have any universal suggestions?
Definitely. So, like I mentioned earlier, sleeping is good because sleeping is going to be a key component in our well-being. That's just with everybody and with everything. If you go to work and you don't sleep well, you're going to be grumpy all day. If you sleep well, you're going to be in a better mood. Same thing for trading. If when you're trading and you slept well, you'll be more alert, more focused. What I notice in myself and even other people that have told this to me, if I don't sleep well, I find that my emotions are more susceptible. Like I'm more susceptible to them while I'm trading. Um, some things that individuals can do outside of trading, more like a universal thing to better themselves. Of course, meditation is very important, at least to me. Make sure to at least meditate at least 10 minutes a day. Usually I do it in the morning time before I trade. But again, it really depends on what works best for the individual. Morning time, evening, afternoon, before bed, whatever works best. Also, breathing exercises are very important, I have found, because when people are getting those, when you get that emotional reaction while you're trading, our logic goes out the window. And then physiologically, we start in exhibiting different things. For example, some people might start breathing like very shallow from their chest, as opposed to taking relaxed, deep breaths. And when you do your breathing practice, whether it's outside of trading or even during trading, it'll allow yourself to, slow down internally and really give you a a way to like reduce your emotions. It may not reduce them 100%, but it can reduce them to the point where you can think logically again and be like, all right, I'm about to do something or I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing. Let me take a step back, go take a walk, go keep on breathing, whatever it may be. And then when I'm good, then I can come back to trade. Because, during those moments, it's really, really hard once we get like when we're fully in the emotional state to get out of it if we don't do these practices prior or even on the onset of them.
Okay, yeah, good. There is a good thing you mentioned that actually you could decrease the level of emotions and like to take a look at them as to the signs of the situation when you are doing wrong, right? So there is no goal to absolutely control your emotion. It's better like to understand them and to understand why do you feel them at this very moment.
Exactly. It's like one thing that a big practice that helps me too, even before and even now, is really like understanding why are these emotions coming up. For example, let's say like when I told you when I was trying to get at that situation about 2 years ago or so when I was trading and experiencing those losses, my outside life and like thoughts were getting into my trading in the sense of, oh, if I overtrade, I'll make more money. If I make more money, I can leave where I am and do many different things. So it's important to really understand yourself and what may going on in your personal life that can bleed into your trading. And then understanding, when it comes to trading, when you're trading, you're trading. Any outside things, it is irrelevant. All we need to focus on is the chart and trading. After that's done, then you can, go back and think of whatever, all those life things and all that stuff. But once you get an idea of what may be affecting you, then you can understand why those emotions are coming up. And then you can help yourself in the sense of, you know, let me take a moment to myself. Let me collect myself, get back into the trader state of mind, and then I can continue trading. Because if I'm trading with the idea or the focus of I need to make this money to do X, Y, and Z, or to pay X, Y, and Z, or for whatever reason it may be, it's not going to end well.
Mhm. Speaking about your experience and the experience of your clients, so how easy for them is to understand their emotions, to build the emotions awareness? Because me as a psychologist, so I see a great problem in this field because people do not understand what they feel at this very moment and in average.
I would say if if I didn't answer the question properly, please let me know. But I would say some individuals can understand it a lot faster than others. Of course, it really depends on the individual and their level of like emotional intelligence. So it's definitely important to understand emotional intelligence in the sense of, what makes you tick, what affects you, things like that. I always recommend, or I would say that would help, having self-reflection. Of course, you can always read on books and things like that. Uh, Therapy works wonders. I've been there before. It helped me a lot in like understanding things of myself and really understand why things come up for me or, wherever it may be. And then ways that we can better navigate them, better, work through them ultimately. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, you did. Thank you. Yeah, and another question is about overtrading. As you know, so I'm working on an application, Tradefulness, and you helped me a lot in it, and I believe you will help me in the future. But what about the question? So I I had interview with dozens of different traders from different countries, and there is a number of traders who are speaking um, about the belief then that if they trade like 12 for 7 days, 12 hours for 7 days, they will gain more profit. But actually, in the reality, it's absolutely false, false belief. What do you think? How is it possible for these people to change their mind and to trade less but trade more effectively?
So, like I mentioned earlier, like having your playbook and really understanding um, what the best setups are for you. And truly, the more trades does not equal more money. I can tell you that right now for any listeners out there. The what you really want to do is take quality trades. If you take, let's say, 20 trades and 15 of them were poor, either losing money or making like, I don't know, let's say for the sake of the conversation, you take 15 out of 20 trades and you make $10 each. That's like $150. But then the 5 trades that you took that were the best quality ones, you made $100 each. So instead of, you know, wasting so much mental energy and mental brain power on like trading so much, you can just take those little amount of trades and make even more money. Like, I know people, or rather, maybe not anymore, but I've seen some people who, take like 20, like 10, 20, 30 trades a day. And I'm like, that to me, that's way too much. At maximum, maybe I'll take maybe like 3 to 5 trades, if that, a day. Sometimes even just one. So ultimately, it's like understand that less trades does not equal more money. It's more so quality trades equal more money.
How do you think, how important is to communicate with other traders uh, about trading, about life, and so on? So, because we asked traders about the role of communication in their trading activity, and they said that yeah, it's really high. They want to communicate with other traders. They want to ask for some advices. But what do you think? Because uh, I think that it could create some disruption in their mind because there is a big number of different forums and chats, and a lot of traders there they are unconscious, and they could like bring a lot of mistakes into one trader's mind. What is your opinion?
Definitely. So I would say the best thing that somebody can do, of course, it's great to have a community, and I would never knock that. However, I always teach that when you're trading, you are trading, not you and 20 other people. You're trading. So when you're done trading, then yeah, go chat with your friends, with your group, whatever you want. Um, I find that this only really works effectively if the individuals have the exact same strategy and the exact same setups that they trade. Otherwise, it can cause too much noise, too much distraction, too much confusion. And also, um, with the confusion aspect, somebody could be there, see people making this money. They're like, oh, I want to make money too. Then they just put a trade just because. But it's like, that's not even your trade. You're just doing it because you got influenced. So while having support and people there to help you, that's great. And I highly recommend that. However, if your if your trading strategy may be different than other people, then I would highly advise against trading, like actively in a group and things like that. Of course, you can get ideas from them if that mixes with yours, but ultimately, I would say people should trade by themselves, and then they can, talk to other people and things like that to
Mm,
limit the distractions.
the question of responsibility, right?
Exactly. Because, you and I, Alex, we can be on the chats all day, but you're not going to press the button for me. I'm not going to press the button for you. You have to do that yourself.
Absolutely. But you know, speaking about trading and yeah, partially business as well. So uh, a lot of people they believe that doing trading or business, creating some company, so they will save their life. They see trading as a magic pillow for them. It's very easy. Just click the fingers, but it's not. What do you think? Why those traders believe so?
I think, um, in going back to the expectations, it may be the way that they were introduced to trading in the sense of, um, I'm sure you've heard this term, but the first one's always free, right? Every time somebody gets into trading, they might make a lot of money in the first trade. Then like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah,
And then that's when the cycle starts of like they think it's easy, then they lose even more money than they started with. Um, I think it's a lot of like with social media when it comes to trading and stuff and like the big numbers that like those trader influencers and content creators put out. But I would always say it's like have the proper expectation to go back to what we were saying earlier. You can get to those numbers eventually, but you have to start somewhere.
Okay. What do you think? So trading is really similar to the business activity, right? But it's mostly like singular business activity, personal business activity um, uh, for any personality, right? So what do you think are the trading rules? Or really, is it possible to use the trading rules in the business life for businessmen, for entrepreneurs?
I would say so, in the sense of course, trading rules and like entrepreneur rules may be different, but ultimately it comes from like the same vein. So let's say for the sake of the conversation, um, for me, it's really just following like the set of rules that I have for business. I'll give you a simple one. When it comes to business, and this might be, I guess, maybe counterproductive from what most people say, but it's really like not burning myself out. So the same way I don't spend more than 2, 3 hours in the charts every day, so I don't, my brain doesn't get burnt. Same thing for when I'm working on my businesses, in the sense of I have it scheduled throughout the day what I'm going to do. I don't spend that much time, whether it be like working on the business itself or even with clients, because you need time for yourself ultimately. And I had to learn this the hard way, both in trading and in my business, because I was overextending myself too much. And then sometimes it'll get to the point where like I'll be burnt out to like, let's say, work for like a day or two afterwards, because I was so drained. And it's important to have like boundaries with yourself, and of course, in business, however, whatever business you may be. But really, it's just like segment your time in ways that work best for you. There are some people who can work 20 hours a day and sleep on 4 hours. I cannot do that. I have definitely learned that. So for me, maybe I can do 8 to 10 hours a day, like split up. Um, but anything more than that, I need to have like everything split up to work best for my personality and what works best for me.
Yeah, I see. And uh, do you use some rules from trading in your business activity? I mean, about discipline, about some risk management.
Absolutely. In the sense of risk management, um, we can always look at it in the sense of, let's say you want to invest in whether it be a company or even a business, whatever it may be, or ultimately in your own business. Um, you can have a specific amount that you may be willing to spend that you maybe either be comfortable with, but not something that would put you in the hole. Granted, depending your business, that may put you in the hole, but for the sake of the conversation, I'll keep it simple. So risk management in the sense of like, um, how much money am I willing to invest in this where it can potentially bring back more money? It can be simple things like upkeep cost. Let's say on a simple version, let's say for me, I use Calendly for people to book my sessions or Zoom. So like those are my expenses for the year in terms of those two things. Like those are part of my business in the sense of like the risk aspect. Um, in terms of discipline, same way for trading that I need to sleep well and take care of myself, the same way for my businesses. I need to sleep properly and take care of myself because when I'm with clients, I need to bring my best self to them. That's what I'm here for. And if I'm not my best self, then I cannot give them the best service that they're asking for and that I'm providing and that I'm giving. So I always need to take care of myself and make sure that I'm good on a mental level. That way I can bring my best self and really help my clients and even myself and those around me to the best of my abilities.
One of the big differences between trading and business is that you have partners in business, right? But in trading, you are only one against the market, right? So how do you cope with this specialty of business? So how do you have partners, and how do you build the relations with them?
So ultimately, when it comes onto the entrepreneur outside of trading side, of course, everything is built on trust and really just having an understanding. What are we here for? What is the goal that we're trying to accomplish? So it's really the best thing that I found is being on the same page, because I've been on the business side where the relationship with the other business partner or business partners may not have worked as we may have wanted. And I find that really being on the same page and, of course, communicating properly can keep everybody on the same page and, make sure everybody's still working towards the same goal. And of course, if anything were to change, that, you properly communicate that and see where everybody's at. Because ultimately, what makes a business successful, in my opinion, is really just having everybody on the same page and working to the same goal. Because if we're all aiming for A, then we're all going to be in sync. We're all going to be in synergy, and it's all going to be good. But if I'm on A and you're on A and somebody else is on B, then there's going to be a disconnect somewhere where we're kind of working against each other at that point.
Yeah, it's interesting thing. It's mostly similar. So you need first to communicate with yourself properly, understand your feelings, understand your emotions, understand your state of mind, and secondly, you need to communicate with other people in the same way.
100%. Because really, I always like transparency. I always tell my business partners, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. Let's talk about it. I want to get everybody's opinion. And then from there, whatever it may be, you can all be on the same page or understand what's going on. Because what you don't want in business, or what you will preferably try to avoid, is when things like come out of nowhere and it like gets in the way of achieving whatever you're trying to achieve. So really being transparent, being on the same page, to me would be best practice.
Okay, that's fine. Could you say a few words about your school? Because I see that you have a name of a school on the cover in a Zoom. So is it one of your businesses?
Yeah, so my coaching business and like my business that I teach people how to trade and stuff like that is called Cerulean Mind Academy. Like I mentioned, people who want to learn how to trade or people who are already trading, I pretty much help them like build systems and see, what may be going on and, uh, you know, do what we can to improve their trading, whether it be on the mental aspect, whether it be on the strategy aspect, pretty much covering all the aspects of trading. For
And
those who may be listening, it's Cerulean Mind Academy, Instagram, YouTube. You can find me there, have content. And yeah, you can always reach out if you need any help.
okay, yeah, that's fine. So the majority of our listeners, they are from like post-Soviet countries, Russian-speaking countries. But is it possible to work for? Is it possible to work with you? Hello?
I would say, realistically, as long as, of course, you speak English, it can be better because um, I don't really speak any other language. But yeah, if we can understand each other, we can definitely work together.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, Desi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining our podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening us. So please subscribe the podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, and follow our new episodes. They will come soon. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So, let's go ahead.